Eric, this weekend is very important for Catalonia and for Barcelona, and it's a weekend of referendum of independence. What is the current situation in Catalonia and how Catalonia feels about this referendum now?
Well, and first of all, we expect this to be another party, democratic party, not a political party, but a celebration. We hope that we may celebrate a referendum in a peaceful way. We have always shown that the Catalan people is participating in all these democratic events. Unfortunately, we cannot celebrate this referendum under the conditions we would like to, because, as you know, our autonomy has been suspended de facto, our economy intervened, our voting stations have been closed, ballot boxes, and not the ballot boxes, but at least the ballots have been sized, media intervened, websites shut down, but we have the most important what we need for a referendum. That's the will of a whole country, the will of our people, and we expect millions of Catalans to go out of the streets with a ballot and going to vote wherever it can be with enough guarantees, because the process has been built to have all democratic guarantees, despite the fact that there will be many obstacles. But of course, I'm convinced this will be a peaceful day, it will be a celebration, and hopefully whatever the result is, that it ends up in this festive mood. Yes.
When we are speaking about security, federal government from Madrid have sent thousands upon thousands of policemen to Barcelona. Is there a real threat of except celebration of democracy?
Well, it's not a threat. I would say democracy has been already undermined since we understand that political issues should be resolved politically. Unfortunately, from the other side, we had always just negative answers to all the proposals we have made to discuss the will and the aspirations of the Catalan people in a political environment. And since we have declared legitimately a referendum that was approved by the Catalan parliament and by the majority of its representatives, which represent the will of the Catalan people from the election in 2015, unfortunately, the only answer was through repression in terms of apparent legality that is covered by the Spanish Constitution. But of course, the Spanish Constitution also protects the will of the Catalan nation if it feels that it is endangered. And the paradox is that those who defend the legality of the Spanish Constitution now are acting against this Constitution by sending police forces, arresting people, questioning journalists, closing websites, entering in private homes without even an order of a judge, just because an attorney suspects that there may be a massive gathering of people that, from their point of view, is a danger. But the only thing that the Catalans have been doing in the last 7 years is peaceful demonstrating, and even when there have been spontaneous reactions by thousands of people against these attempts against our democracy, they just were singing, chanting, of course with a lot of sense of humor, which makes us also very close to you, the Bosnians, because we admire your sense of humor, we admire your resilience when it comes to difficult situations. So it is something that we have learned from you, that is something we have learned from your past experience, and I hope that this will help us to overcome also this situation and to celebrate on Monday, whatever the result is, but because this is also something that is very important. This referendum is not only for those who are convinced that independence is the best solution. It's also a thought for those that think that this is not the best way, that there are other ways, that there is still time for negotiating something So for those who defend no, this is also their referendum, and we would like them to be also on the streets.
Some people have said that if Barcelona cedes from Spain, that there will be major impact on Catalonia's economy and well-being of people living in Catalonia. Is that true, or it's just fear from the rest of the Spain that economic power will be away from a federation?
I would say if you don't have political arguments, and this is something we have seen in many parts of the world, and this is one of our main concerns in terms of the health of our worldwide democracy. It's the use of fear as a political argument, and fear is just threatening people. Of course, you can argue this. You can, I think, papers hold any argument, but we will see what is real. What is real for us is, since we have announced that we will celebrate a referendum, more foreign investment has come. We have the best records in foreign investment. There are many companies that are still willing to come to Catalonia. There is a lot of interest outside in foreign countries, and there is a lot of expectation. Of course, everyone wants this to happen peacefully, and once the process is over and we have the answer, the will of the people, we will decide accordingly. And I'm sure that all those who have investments in Catalonia, all those who want to invest in Catalonia, they will feel reassured. But unfortunately, you remember that we had these terrible terrorist attacks on the 17th of August. But for the first time, this gave us the possibility to show in an international scene that we are a mature country, that we are able to govern ourselves, that we are able to face even the most difficult situation. And so I think that we are ready. So, but of course, again, the plan of this government and the mission of this referendum is not to break up violently. This will be a joint settlement by equal parties, negotiated with Spain, with the European Union, of course, because and no one questioned this. In Catalonia live 7.5 million European citizens, and these 7.5 million citizens will remain in Europe. The form of this belonging to Europe, we will see what it is. But the transitional law towards the new independent state foresees that we will citizens, European citizens, with two passports, the Catalan and the Spanish passport. We will speak 3 languages. We will be an inclusive country, open country, and of course oriented towards Europe. And that's clear, no question about it.
Let's talk about another referendum. That's a referendum, supposed referendum in RS in Bosnia, which tries to seize from Bosnia. President of RS, Milorad Dodik, often claims that RS is similar to Catalonia, and that the result of the referendum in Catalonia will be somehow linked to results of referendum in RS if it happens. Is there any potential for that?
Of course, every territorial dispute, every legitimate aspiration of every every people in the world are closely watching to what is happening in Catalonia. But this does never mean that we are similar to or that we can compare the process in Catalonia with Kurdistan, with Scotland, with Quebec, with many other regions that have these aspirations. In the case you mentioned, you know that Catalonia and Bosnia have a very close relationship for many years, even especially the first days of the war. That me personally, I have covered this war as a journalist. I have lived with you. I have suffered this war with you. I know very well the situation. And of course, you can never compare both cases. Simply from one side, because Republika Srpska is just a settlement that was made under international auspices after a terrible war, and this is a political settlement that it's still in transition. You're still finding a way to settle with what happened 25 years ago. So it's normal that from their side they want to look towards Catalonia, but of course you cannot compare this situation. And I'm not saying financially or culturally, I'm just saying you cannot compare because among other differences, it's the first time in the European history that this happens inside the European Union, despite the fact that our aspiration is to remain inside the European Union. But you cannot compare both processes, basically because in our case it happens inside the EU, and in your case is still an ongoing process to find the right settlement after a terrible war which we didn't have. We had in some sense, but 80 years ago. The only comparison maybe you can make is that 80 years ago in the Spanish Civil War, this is an unfinished war as well, because there was no reconciliation after that war. But this is maybe the only point that I see in common, but not in terms of political outcome, in terms of will of the people. There are legitimate aspirations, but I think that every situation needs its own solution, and that's why we always, of course, we learn from all these processes, and I'm sure that Bosnia can learn from Catalonia. Same way we also learn from Bosnia, because we took also your experience home, and there are many maybe mistakes that was committed during the breakup of Yugoslavia that of course we didn't want to commit ourselves.
You have spent time here during the war, and it's past the 25 years since the war. How you see Bosnia and Herzegovina today?
I must admit, today was my first trip in the last 10 years. It's the first time I'm so long away from Bosnia. And I have some mixed feelings. I really thought that politically the situation would have developed a little bit more. In some things I felt we are in the same standing point that I left behind just after we finished with the reconstruction of Moimilo, so meaning in '99. And some other, well, just spent 12 hours today in Sarajevo, but in some ways I thought, yes, you are developing a lot in certain areas of the economy, that there has been a lot of investment done. Maybe not, you cannot see this investment flourishing everywhere, but of course to make it a little bit graphically, I would say I felt like landing in Berlin after which is an event that I also covered and had the chance to live, which was after the Berlin Wall, when we realized that Berlin was a kind of island where it developed a lot, but it still was surrounded by an Eastern Germany that didn't develop so much, and this is the impression I have in Sarajevo today. So I would like to see also these investments spreading around the whole Bosnia, so that all the people still living in this country will have the chance to have a better future. But this is nothing that I can change. Of course, the mission of Catalonia in the Balkans, the delegation of the government of Catalonia in the Balkans, that has an office in Zagreb, as you know, but is also responsible for the bilateral cooperation with all the Balkan states, has a mission to open projects, to explore projects of mutual interest, and it's not cooperation, it's real collaboration. There's many things we have still to learn from you. There are many things that we can contribute, I hope, even after the 2nd of October. And that's basically my mission. It's to retake all these efforts that especially Barcelona, but also the Catalan government did during the war and after the war, and the reconstruction process of Sarajevo and other parts of Bosnia, and updated it, upgraded it to the 21st century, and try to help you to balance a little more this development. But yeah, as I said, we're mixed feelings. Yes.
We know that Barcelona and Sarajevo are great friends, and we know that on Sunday people will be here joining you. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, since I arrived, and I've met several friends, one after the other or all together. They all just told me that they were very much concerned. They all asked me about what's going to happen on Sunday, and they even suggested that it would be a good idea, since they cannot be with us there, that since we have helped them when you really needed someone who spreads your voice around the world, that maybe it was time also to support now, to give back this support to Catalonia in a form of a peaceful gathering somewhere in Sarajevo, probably in our square Barcelona, in Barcelona, Turk Barcelona, in Moimilo, around midday on the same Sunday. It will be nice. It's an idea that some of our friends, what I call our Bosnian Catalans, had, because as you know, we had thousands of refugees also in Catalonia. That's with time they came back and resettled here. So there are Bosnians that speak very well Catalan that have been cooperating with us as well during the reconstruction process. Many of them led this project and represented us even. So we are very proud of them. We are very good friends. We are relying to them, and of course, it would be nice if this happens. But it's up to them, of course, if they feel that they want to be on our side.
And the last question, and which is most important, our football fans here in Bosnia are wondering what's going to happen with Barcelona if Catalonia sees. So Barcelona will always be a champion.
There's a very good symptom with this, because if everyone is worried about Barca, it means that you feel that we are not in danger, or at least so seriously. So this makes me feel comfortable. La Liga is a private business. If you were the owner of La Liga and you could have the chance to miss at least, I would not say 50%, but a big part of this business, I'm sure that you would not let them go. So, and since we are an open and inclusive country, even when we become independent, if the Catalans decide so on Sunday, the same way we have double nationality, the same way that we speak two languages, why we should not have our, not just Barça, but also Girona, also Espanyol, still playing the Spanish league, which is one of the most strongest one. We have examples of other football leagues, like Monaco is playing the French league, but only, of course, if they want us. And I'm sure that it's the same answer when you ask me about the businesses and the financial and economic effects of independence. The common sense will finally reach yes, I would say the logic would say that we will prevail and that we will still play the Spanish league, but it's also, again, it has to be a mutual understanding. If there's no one on the other side when you knock the door, then of course we have to find other solutions. Catalans are very creative. We have also learned this from you. You were unbelievable creative during the war and in the worst times and under stress. And I'm sure if this is not possible, we will find the best solution. There's also there's a third way that says that since the project of the European League is already mature, we just have to wait till this European League starts, and that's it. This will be the natural league to play for us.